Alrighty, everybody, what is going on? We are here. It is the semifinals, the second semifinal for the Black Twitch League. We got a doozy on our hands. It is MG Element versus Team Ishtar. My name is Yanni. I am joined here by RareAdam. And Adam, you've had a heck of a day today, haven't you? Tell the people what you've been up to.
Yeah, just finished the CLOL round of 32 stream over on Unified 2. Finish that one up. Get into the post more, set up the OBS in the meantime, and now we're here to cast some Black Twitch League because I missed you guys. And I want to bring as much action as we can. And Yanni, we're already into draft for game one.
Yeah, a lot of the action has already been brought through these bans. We see some pretty interesting ones targeted clearly at MG Element from Team Ishtar. They get rid of the Camille, they get rid of the Riven, they get rid of the Zac, which has been a pick that really multiple players can play in here and not just junglers. On the other side, MG Element, they're going to take care of some more aggressively slanted champions, and they elect to take the gank in a can, Volibear.
Gank in a can, Volibear. I used that on the cast the other day, by the way. Yeah, it's such a strong jungler. You're just able to throw it out there and say, hey, I'm going to be able to gank a lane. We can flex this top lane. We can do whatever we want with it. Gives you so much flexibility. But on the flip side, if you're not picking up the Jinx first, what are you doing? You're giving that one over for free. And, that's scaling in a can. If you have gank in a can with the Volibear, you've got scaling in a can with the Jinx.
For sure. The problem is, though, what happens when your scaling in a can gets chased down by a bigger can? You get canned. Your scaling doesn't matter, though, when they pick up the Xayah, because you're going to get put into the dirt in the early game.
Yeah, and what else comes in a can? Beans come in a can, of course.
Beans!
I was going to throw something stupid in there, of course, in draft. But, of course, already we've got ourselves Venom picking up a carry on the top side of the map in the Fiora. Immediate answer is the Malphite. So they're saying, you know what? We are going to do as much as we can to prevent this Fiora from just running over a lane.
Who's in the top lane for MG Element?
Venom.
Careful. We might get copyrighted for that one. But they do answer with the Malphite into that Fiora. So it will be a pretty interesting matchup. Sword into rock. I mean, we saw what scissors could do to rock and paper the other night, and that was a pretty interesting matchup. That said, I like so far what Team Ishtar is doing, but it seems like they need something with the Malphite here. You can't just go Jinx, Lisa, and Malphite and just play these champions that are like, okay, we're not really aiming to team fight, right? If you pick a Malphite, you have to make a team fight oriented composition. And MG Element, so far with that Pantheon ban, isn't really too scared of it.
Yeah, the Pantheon is a pick that is really impactful in the right hands. It's not a catch-all champion in a lot of ways, which can be to the detriment of some specific team comps, but if you're taking that away, you don't need to worry about that. There's a lot of carries that are going to be taken off the table in this round because you've already got this Fiora picked up. You've got the Xayah picked up. Especially if you're Team Ishtar here, you've got to be incredibly careful of what MG Element may bring to the table. On top of that, the Rakan is a good answer to take away that option with the Xayah.
Couple of things here today about the teams. The lineups are a little bit different. Guipo is out. Venom is in for MG Element. On the other side, Team Ishtar, lots of different things moving around here. Chicken the Wing is going to be in the top lane. Drubin is going to take the mantle in the mid lane. This does mean the Death by Video Game will be playing support. So it's a bit of a different team than what Team Ishtar has been bringing. And they've been on quite a crazy run. In fact, maybe the hottest team in the league after dealing Team DPS their only loss on the season.
Yeah, and realistically, both MG Element and Team Ishtar are looking poised to make that final. Of course, Team Ishtar, this team that we couldn't really get a gauge on for the longest time because they were beating teams better than them, losing to teams that were worse than them. It made no sense, but they're here now in our semifinals. And MG Element, they're a team that were very strong coming out of the gate. They were sort of our 1A and 1B alongside DPS. They faltered a little bit in the later bit, though, and we'll see if Team Ishtar have their number this time around.
Yeah, it's been a pretty weird season for MG Element, aside from the fact that they finished second. Like, I don't know. His team felt like it should have been much stronger than it actually ended up being, but doesn't matter how strong you were before. It matters how strong you are now. And what is strong is King Annihilator on LeBlanc, ready to annihilate some people. I think he had, a 17 kill game a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, we were doing over-unders on that. I know that for a fact. And
Yeah.
it was pretty ridiculous nonetheless just to have Annihilator have these sort of pocket picks. And LeBlanc is a champion that hasn't been as popular recently, but it's still incredibly strong in the right hand. So very curious to see how that one plays through.
All right. MG Elements team composition, it's got a lot of good tools to it. I really like the Renata Glass pickup, especially after the Malphite Rakan for Team Ishtar. Renata, great counter engage, probably the best in the game. Now, Vex and Lee Sin are going to come in from afar, so it is a little bit easier to wait out the hostile takeover, right? But once you get Malphite Rakan to commit, if you can interrupt a lot of what they're trying to do CC-wise, you can give your team a slight advantage to be able to take over.
You give yourself a little bit more of that advantage. Spotify, extremely loud there. Anyways, yeah, you give yourself a little bit of that advantage, but I'm curious to see how this Vex matches up into the LeBlanc, because I think the key matchup is going to be through that mid lane, at least for MG Element and Team Ishtar here. Both of them are going to be reliant on the roaming potential of both of these champions. I mean, last night on a CLO broadcast, we saw Vex just able to get like 4 or 5 resets in one fight. You're able to get that agency on that champion.
Or 10, depending on who you are.
Yeah, depending on who you are. And, you know, as long as Jerry doesn't die, you're okay. But King Annihilator on this LeBlanc is incredibly scary at the best of times, and maybe just a tad under scary at the worst of times as well. This is someone who has an incredibly high ceiling on this champion. Very curious to see how it plays into Druben here, where Vex is normally seen as sort of an anti-assassin in a lot of ways. Also, draft program is not having fun. Very sorry about the missing textures there. We'll fill you in if that's of note.
Yeah, and you know what? Typically, when you see two equal mid laners going up against each other, the Vex can get the better of the LeBlanc at times. The skill intensiveness of the matchup to be able to fear the LeBlanc at the right time. Also, with her dashes, you're going to be proccing your passive more. But Druben's coming off the bench for this one, and he's going to have his work cut out for him against one of the best mid laners in this league, who has been for quite some time now. And we know the propensity for King Annihilator to absolutely take over a game. And if you're going to devote your resources to putting King Annihilator in the dumpster, well, Lee Sin doesn't bring any CC with him, so it's really just going to be on the Vex. And then elsewhere, you have a Fiora, who is probably going to have a fine time against the Malphite, content to farm up, and a Xayah, who, in the early game, is probably going to set your Jinx far behind, which is going to require attention in the bot lane, too. So there's a lot of things that MG Element can do, but if Team Ishtar can weather the storm and get these fights right, I think it might have a shot.
I think that Team Ishtar, a lot of it's going to come down to Viperto's early game. Lee Sin is a champion that, as you mentioned, doesn't have a whole lot of crowd control, apart from sometimes the most pivotal crowd control ability, which is that kick. In a lot of ways to push.
I thought you meant killing people.
I mean that too, but I mean, if Viperto is able to find some really clutch kicks onto someone like Xayah, onto someone like LeBlanc to kick off a fight, quite literally, it can mean a lot of really good things for Team Ishtar. And of course, Xayah Rakan being split up here, it's hard to gauge exactly who has the upper hand, because Xayah has been incredibly popular, incredibly high priority. Jinx is still that stalwart AD carry that if you give her an inch, she can take it a mile. Supported by a Rakan, it's an interesting combination because Rakan likes to take control of some lanes, especially into someone like Renata Glass, won't be able to have as much follow-up with the Jinx. So expect Viperto to pay attention to this bottom side of the map where they can link up and give Jinx a little bit more space and some gold.
I want to give credit to the picks of Jinx and Lee Sin. I really like when teams will pair a late game scaler with an early game ganking jungler. Make sure that they don't fall too far behind in the early game. It's very important to make sure you have a champion that can get your team through that rough early game by its sheer presence, and Lee Sin is one of the champions that can do that. The team compositions are set. The teams are ready. The spectator delay is unfortunately here. So Yanni and RareAdam will be taking a short break, and then we're going to head to the Rift, and we'll give you game one between MG Element and Team Ishtar. Ladies and gentlemen, game one of the semifinals here in the Black Twitch League is kicking off right now. You see all the pinks in the face. Absolutely ridiculous. MG Element on the blue side. Team Ishtar on the red side. Team Ishtar, as we mentioned in the pregame, may be the hottest team in the league right now. That said, MG Element brought the star power today. King Annihilator, out of blue. Players in Diamond last season. Venom, typically a sub in the game. D1 last season. Team Ishtar, they had to do a little bit of changing here. They're a little short-handed.
Yeah, I think that regardless, Team Ishtar, they've been able to play around their substitutes in the past and really push forward their own agendas. I think that's the main thing. Play their own game style, and they'll be good to go.
Now, the question is, what is the style? It's Voperdo on that Lee Sin. Voperdo, the star of this team. Sorry, anybody else on Team Ishtar. It is the Voperdo show. We've seen it before. We've seen it. I'm sure we'll see it many times in the future. And we'll have to see it in this series if Team Ishtar wants to continue their run. It all started off once they beat Team DPS. And while they haven't played too many games since then, it felt like they've been world beaters.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, they have been sort of that unsung hero in a lot of ways because, while you can beat all these teams that are above you, you still need to make sure that you're winning against teams that you should beat. And thus far, in the gauntlet at least, Team Ishtar showed that they could beat Trebuchet. They showed that they could advance without too much issue, and that's basically what we can work off of for now. We'll see how this matchup works out, though, because already on this top side, Venom doing what we expect them to do early on against Chick in the Wing.
Just exposing those weak points. I never knew that a rock had a weak point, but I have been proven wrong here by Venom, as just continues to make life rough in the top lane here. In the bottom lane, Death by Video Game and Frostbite, the first ones to hit level 2, and they will take firm control of the lane after dealing a little bit of damage to Out of Blue.
Yeah, just a little bit of damage to Out of Blue there. Of course, the Xayah, one of those S-tier picks right now. Alongside that, Jinx will see what the build is. Very likely going to be going for that lethality approach, and we've seen it a lot. We've seen, this Eclipse Xayah pop up, so much so that Riot's nerfing it next patch, and not a lot of people are happy about that because it's taking a new champion and saying, you know what, you get one patch in the spotlight, whereas Jinx, 8, 9 patches now? How many patches has it been of Jinx meta?
How long has Arcane been out for?
Oh, yeah, about that long.
Don't worry, depending on who they feature in Arcane 2, wait for the second season of Arcane. Wait for Warwick season, boys. It's going to be Warwick season. That ain't a spoiler either. That's the best part. But, yeah, I have some issue with them deciding to nerf Xayah like this, mostly because it's an unfun playstyle to play against, sure, but it does provide a good counter to Jinx. You see a lot of teams taking it.
Yeah, it provides some sort of agency elsewhere in the bot lane pool, because before it was Jinx Aphelios, it was Jinx Zeri. All of those champions, you nerf Aphelios, you nerf Zeri, you quote-unquote nerf Jinx by making her rockets cost the right amount of mana again. And then Xayah gets one patch in the spotlight, nerf her again. Yes, Jhin is getting buffed, but those are more utility-based. You want to see more Hyper Garys show up, but already here, this Jinx getting shoved back in. I want to point out the CS difference on this top lane. Chick in the Wing having 10 CS is pretty impressive, all things considered, because Fiora should be like 25-0 right now. That's the power of Fiora in this lane. Malphite just needs to get that level 6 and be that good old dumb rock and run their face into someone. That's their job this game.
So Venom is up here with Chick in the Wing and decided it is half-price wing night at Applebee's, baby. He is here chowing down on the CS. And imagine if he had Ignite. Remember that earlier trade? He took Chick in the Wing pretty low. If he stuck at Ignite instead of going with TP, I mean, we're talking about a first blood in the top lane. So Chick in the Wing still needs to be incredibly careful here. One misstep, it could cost the game, to be quite honest with you. If Fiora this good, getting that far ahead would be disastrous.
Yeah, I think that the main thing about Fiora's here is they're really scary if you leave them alone for too long. Realistically, level 6, I'd love to see Lee Sin come top lane when you've got that Malphite ultimate to follow up on. Really, you just need to avoid riposte there as your engage tool. Not going to be too difficult for the Malphite to sort of just hold the door on it and wait until she uses it aggressively. But Chick in the Wing, wait a sec.
He's slow on mana, so he can't really chase it out too much, but fighting back, and sure, down in CS, but Venom going to get the back here. It does mean that it's going to be that much harder for Chicken the Wing to make anything happen.
Yeah, and in this mid lane, King Annihilator sort of just flexing their muscles. We know the power of this player. On a champion like the LeBlanc, we've seen them pull up the Yasuo, the Yone, all of those fun stuff. King Annihilator is MG Element's heart and soul in a lot of ways. They play through mid lane, and it's a really strong playstyle for them. But on this bottom side, Death by Video Game, got to be careful.
Looks like we could see a 3v3 here. Death by Video Game with the knockup. He's a little deep, but we'll be able to jump back to Frostbite, and everything is a-okay. Well, Vaperdo tried, and Runner 90 was there too, and there's just not too much you can get done there when your Rakan jumps right into a bear. It's pretty scary stuff, and Jungler's still near the bot side, so it looks like there's not going to be any help on this top side. Chicken the Wing has been stranded and potentially left for dead, depending on what Venom wants to do with this huge wave.
Yeah, it's a potential solo dive here. That's what we're maybe expecting. Vaperdo, though, on this bottom side. Oh, here comes Vex.
Big double fear into a double knockup. Look at the combo. That wasn't a Vex auto attack. That was a Q. Runner 90 has to flash away. Frostbite going back and forth with Out of Blue. But it looks like those two will be a-okay. Look at the engagement. Look at the kill. Venom manages to get Chicken the Wing. Drubin cleans up Out of Blue. And lots of fighting all around the map. It is a 2-for-1 in favor of Team Ishtar. However, wait a minute. Wait a minute. The shielding. He lives!
Oh my goodness, it's so close there. Almost able to find that kill in the Frostbite. Everything is used to save the Jinx, and it's going to just be that extra kill going over to Team Ishtar. Yes, you get the kill on the top side, you crash a huge wave, but really the fight on the bottom side shouldn't have been lost that hard. It feels like Runner 90 and King Annihilator weren't in good position to defend that bot lane play, thus giving Drubin and Death by Video Game a little bit of an extra push, and that's leading to a very, very slight gold lead in favor of Team Ishtar.
It was quite surprising, too, because while King Annihilator has been doing fairly well in the lane, obviously you see the slight CS lead, and they've been really having the push advantage so far. Drubin was the one who got first move in that fight, resulting in that huge win.
Yeah, it's Drubin able to join the fight first, using that Shadow Surge, which can be so devastating for a lot of these teams and just sort of mitigating damage. You know, if the Vex jumps in, she's going all the way in. You either just live and find yourself a bunch of kills, or you die. And Drubin just trusting the team to follow up on that. Really well played from Ishtar. You can tell the comms are going very smooth in that initial play.
And if you're King Annihilator, you're pretty upset. You're flashless, you have no ignite. There goes all your potential kill pressure. Now Venom up here in the top lane has been slowed. Vaperdo with a flash Q. The kick was riposted. However, Vaperdo will still claim the life of the Fencer.
Unfortunately, not able to stay alive. Really good riposte there. Looked a little bit rough, but Chicken the Wing was the one tanking up the tower, so Vaperdo was able to go in, go out, go back in to clean up that kill. Well played to find the kill onto the Fiora, and that's a little bit scary. You don't want this Fiora to be dying in this early game, even to a jungle gank.
Yeah, that early fight win really allowed Vaperdo to head to the top lane because nothing to fight with in the bottom lane anymore. You know, you already have your slight advantage, so you can go elsewhere. I think that it was still going to just be Venom and Chicken the Wing going at each other mano a mano, but you win a fight in the bot lane, all of a sudden, it just opens you up for other opportunities across the map.
Yeah, you're able to open up this bot lane potentially to just sort of scaling up still. You open up mid lane as well. Look, Drubin's just rotating down already. This could be trouble.
Open up a Rift Herald too, by the way. Vaperdo picked that one up. Here comes Death by Video Game. He's going to flash. The charm is there, and here comes Drubin. The bailout ain't going to help you out. Death by Video Game getting credit for that one. Out of Blue using the ultimate, trying to get away, and will be able to do so. Once again, a 1-for-0 there.
Yeah, incredibly well played from Out of Blue to stay alive, but now topside.
Here we go. Venom is low. Venom's half HP already. Vaperdo hasn't even done any damage yet. Venom trying to kite it out. It's the grand challenge down, looking for the last one. Can he get it? He does, but the healing is not enough. Chicken the Wing getting one for themselves up there. And right now, Team Ishtar, the team play has been so strong so far.
Yeah, full disclosure here. This Fiora needs to stop dying. You gotta put some vision down. You gotta say, hey, watch out on this top side of the map, because this Lee Sin right now is running around the map like a madman, just taking any name at will. And if it's the Fiora dying over and over again, it's preventing that win condition from being a reality. It's delaying the Fiora's scaling in this game. And Malphite just being able to sit up there like a big dumb rock, as we've been saying, being down 20 CS is fine. Getting a kill is not fine for the side of MG Element. They need to try and find a lead somewhere else on the map, because they're starting to bleed out gold early.
It's rough, and Runner 90 has been silent this game. Aside from that one fight in the bottom lane where he really didn't do a whole lot. King Annihilator almost was able to get a kill, but the mid-jungle combination of MG Element has been terrible so far. Boperdo, very low. Finally, Runner 90 gets something done. He's going to get credit for a kill. Chasing down Death by Video Game, and that one is going to go over to King Annihilator. There we go, finally. Now we see the mid-jungle duo coming alive for MG Element.
Well played, you know, well matched in that bottom side of the map. They understood where they need to find their advantages. King Annihilator not sitting on the best of buys, but, you know, they've got the Merc Treads, they've got the Lost Chapter, they've got enough in the tank to make something happen, and that's exactly what they do. Linking up with Runner 90, these are the combos that are going to be super important for MG Element as the game progresses.
First dragon here for the side of MG Element, second dragon in the game overall. They're going to take that Ocean Drake. Now, what do we got? Oh, Infernal Soul, baby. Okay, okay. I like it. Big fan of that.
It's going to get exciting because of how much damage MG Element are speccing into right now. I mean, you've got this Volibear who still does a decent amount of damage as your tankiest member. Everyone else is going to do damage at some point. Renata Glask doesn't mind it either because, fun fact, on her hostile takeover, if she's got Infernal Soul, the enemy champions will proc Infernal Soul on each other. Ends up being a lot of damage coming through. It's really silly.
It's like, well, you're sad that you didn't get Infernal Soul? No big deal. I got you.
For like 2.5 seconds, but regardless, it is very interesting to see what the next steps are for MG Element here. They've been able to claw it back to about even, and really, eyes are still going to be on King Annihilator looking to push their advantage in the mid lane and sort of spread it to the other lanes. And I think the main target they need to go for, potentially this top side, honestly, try and shut down this Malphite even harder and give more room to Venom on that top side of the map.
And it's so hard for Venom right now because you saw some earlier trading having a really rough time due to the plated steel caps all along with the Bramble Vest. You saw Venom procced a Vital and just did not heal anything because the wave was so large as well. It just caused so many problems. But we see Rift Herald dropped here in the mid lane as King Annihilator had gone on a roam, so just allowed the side of Team Ishtar to push in a little bit. Boperdo and Druben are going to be out of there, and they're just going to collect their gold.
And I think that overall, it's still slim pickings, I want to say, for both of these teams in terms of what advantages they can get while you're able to drop down a Rifty to get some plates for yourself. It's not going to make too big of a difference because King Annihilator, they want to be able to leave this lane. They want to be able to move around the map at will, and if that mid lane towers down on their side, I don't think King Annihilator personally really cares. It's more so Venom that has to be worried because now Druben going to rotate up to that top side, look for kills onto this Fiora, who's already struggling in a matchup that should be incredibly favored. Yeah, they're up 40 CS, but that's expected. You want to have 40 CS plus 2 kills or something. Now that teleports are unlocked, Chicken the Wing can have so much more impact around the map.
Or he could have some impact in this top lane as he has decided to pick a fight with Venom, and that is not a fight you wanted to pick. Picked clean is that Chicken Wing Venom with the solo kill.
An interesting choice, I want to say, from the Malphite to go in for the all-in. I think you're just waiting out the short trades as much as you want. I don't think you need to all-in with your ultimate and give Venom the opportunity to just sort of jump on top of you and find that ultimate. I don't agree with that play, but regardless, it does sort of give Venom a little bit more of an advantage now. Now that the Divine Thunder is complete, this lane's going to get even harder. I think Chicken the Wing just needs to play for the team, look for the teleports, and just sit back in this lane and just exist to prevent the tower from going down.
Yeah, he kind of got a little too big for his britches there, was smelling himself a little bit because those short trades, a lot of them were assisted by minions, mostly because, again, the healing that gets reduced on Venom because of the Bramble Vest. And I think Chicken the Wing thought they were a lot stronger than they actually were, and maybe one more trade, and then you can full engage, and you'll see some success there, but they pulled the trigger a little too early, and they paid for it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's just too deep for the side of Chicken the Wing, and now, though, Vapero's going to try and pick up the second Rift Herald for themselves. Curious to see how much priority either of these teams put on it. By the looks of it, MG Element don't care about it.
Yeah, and as long as Team Ishtar, is okay with not losing anything here, like they're just rotating over here, they're going to allow Out of Blue to get some CS, but that's about it. As long as they don't lose anything, this is largely fine.
Yeah, it's totally okay to have all of this happen. Second Rift Herald isn't as impactful. Yes, you might be able to get first turret off of it, but realistically, oh my.
Uh-oh. Stay next to the wall, buddy.
Oh.
He ran away from the wall. He dead.
Yeah. They get first tower, though.
Yeah. You know what? That's okay. Acceptable sacrifice, I guess, is first turret going down, give the gold over to Vapero and Drubin. And this does allow Drubin to move around a little bit. I'm not going to lie, it's been kind of disheartening to see these mid laners go at it because they've been just farming it out. And sure, their CS numbers are great, especially King Annihilators. Most CS in the game on LeBlanc is incredibly impressive. I'd like to see him move a little bit. Frostbite has been untouched this whole game, aside from that scare in the bottom lane.
I think that it's been just Drubin existing for now. Oh boy, more fighting.
Uh-oh. Comes Drubin. Oh, didn't only landed one fear. Here's a double knockup, though. Frostbite getting a kill onto Runner 90. Almost sniped King Annihilator. Out of Blue. Has to try to run away, but has been zapped. The flash is down. It is a double kill for Frostbite. You leave a Jinx alone for long enough, and they will pop off.
Yeah, Frostbite given enough space to pick up a double kill for themselves. That's really bad for MG Element because even though the gold's really close, gold on Jinx is always going to benefit her. Even more so because of how her champion works. Resets aplenty in the later stages. Picking up a double kill is not a good sign, and despite Out of Blue having that Mythic plus Boots complete, it's going to be a gold lead going over to Frostbite, picking up a turret for themselves as well. It's almost 1,300 gold. That's half an item. That's scary. Oh, Venom's here, though.
This is scary as well. Vaperio trying to help out Frostbite. The team saying, get down, Mr. President. And Frostbite survives and picks up the kill. And now late game carry is the target. The rest of Team Ishtar undecided, and they will walk away.
Yeah, and what was an 800 gold lead for a little bit, that tower gets picked up, balloons up to almost 2,000 gold. Now gold is getting just funneled into this Jinx. She picks up another kill for herself. That's not good. You're not supposed to give Jinx free kills here. So now 3-0-2. Complete the full Phantom Dancer. Gonna be building towards those boots. That's a full item up on the Xayah now.
And I feel like Venom probably should have stuck to split pushing there and just allow yourself time to get into the game because that's what your team's going to need. They don't need you at this weak point right now. And sure, relatively strong considering the items and the state of the game. However, not so strong that you can do things like that. And when the rest of the team around you is also not exactly playing up to par, you're going to get exposed like that. You're going to give away free kills and fall further and further behind.
It's really difficult to get yourself back on your feet here because you've given up so much already to the side of Team Ishtar, and just to be able to sort of redefine your control over the game, especially against the 3-0-2 Jinx, against this Lee Sin that's been everywhere on the map, can be challenging. You've got to really find a fight on your own terms. You can't be playing Team Ishtar's game. You have to play MG Element's game.
And the problem with MG Element's game is look at their champions. Those champions are meant to go, make aggressive money moves at the beginning of the game. And they've lost that part of their team identity because of their early struggles.
They've lost that identity. They need to sort of recoup and recharge. A lot of it just comes down to Fiora messing around too much on that top side of the map, and Venom just needs to keep it simple. Play for that 1v1. Respect where the jungler is. Don't go for anything too crazy on a Malphite. We've seen what they can do in the 1v1. It's only when they don't respect their laner and their jungler specifically that they've been punished. So keep opening up the map for Venom to continue scaling because especially with the Mirror Mana build, you're looking for 3-item spike. You do so much damage in 1v1s. You can eventually get to that 1v2. And we've seen Fiora's 1v9 games before. We know the potential of that champion.
And at the same time, the rest of the team needs to put more pressure onto Frostbite. We talked about it a little bit earlier. You cannot allow them to just continuously farm up like this, and even Drubin to a certain extent as well. If you just allow these carries to farm up, I mean, it doesn't matter how strong Venom is going to get. They're eventually going to be caught in a 4v1 because the rest of MG Element will have fallen.
And with this Renata Glask as well, you've got to be very cognizant of how you want to play your fights, because she's not going to be your hard engage. She's more of an Enchantress style, but even then, she doesn't provide you a whole lot of heals or a lot of shields or anything. Well, she does provide you with shields at least, but... Oh, Drubin.
Joe, never mind. I thought Drubin was going to be okay, but Venom is here, forcing the flash out of Drubin, and Venom is going for it. Venom
stun!
Takes the plant. Whoa, what a stun! Follow it up with a huge flash out of Runner 90, and Drubin's got nowhere to go. Venom will get credit for the kill, but 3 members of the side of Team Ishtar pushing down top inner turret. Lots of gold going over to each member. 233 a pop.
Renata?
Late game carry. Renata Glass caught out, charmed, flashes. He's going to take the plate over, but Death by Video Game follows, and now Chicken the Wing engaging onto King Annihilator. Super Mega Death Rocket from downtown lands. And now Venom, all they can do is sit there and try to take out the mid turret. So while Venom got a kill in a turret, the rest of MG Element are out of their element.
And Renata Glass walking through the jungle, trying to drop off her kids at private school, unable to do so because she gets taken down by the Birdman Rakan himself, looking for his wife. Finds the stepmom instead. But now Baron's just on the table for Team Ishtar. This is ballsy.
Oh, here comes the teleport, though. Drubin is looking to join the fight to keep everybody away. Help out with this Baron just a little bit. Venom has to back off. Runner 90 has to back off. Sub 22-minute Baron secured by Team Ishtar.
Yeah, and Team Ishtar, they've got the momentum. This team is super reliant on building momentum and just pushing forward with it. They're playing that exactly to plan right now, feeling super good about this game state. Drubin, though, okay, very smart play to spot out Runner 90.
Wise, especially since that ward was down, so give credit to MG Element. They are trying to make plays, and you see Voperno is just playing with the vision here. He gets rooted. Here, that whiffs. X Ultimate did not land. Here's a double distortion. The fear, the kill! Drubin is going to be able to pick off King Annihilator at Frostbite, though. Very low, has the shielding, doesn't have any lifesteal other than runes, and doesn't even have Dorns anymore, but you can see they're getting a little bit healthier.
Just building up over time, you can see it's
He's
gonna
go
be
for
another
it.
dragon taken. Oh
He's
my
gonna
goodness.
go for it.
He's doing it.
Do it!
Oh,
It's secured by Malphite! Over the wall goes Runner 90. Super Mega Death Rocket hits late game carry instead of Runner 90. Dragon secured for Team Ishtar, though. It puts them on soul point.
It puts them now on a 5-minute timer. You've got to try and find some sort of fight win before then, maybe even a couple to get yourself back into this game, because Team Ishtar are starting to run away with the chip here. And, you know, it is a 5-game series. You've got a lot of games to play. I think you need to try and find a way back into this one. You want to establish some level of gameplay expectations for not only yourself, but for everyone who's watching as well. If you're MG Element and you're coming into this with a flaccid game plan, it's going to be a quick 3-0 for the side of Team Ishtar. You need to show your proactivity. You need to show that you are ready to win this series. And thus far, a lot of these plays have just been falling flat.
And when you have a mid-jungle duo like Runner 90 and King Annihilator, known as one of the better mid-jungle duos in the league, coming out so flat like this, 2-3-3, just uninspired gameplay. And while they do have a majority of the team's assists, they combined have 3 out of the team's 5. You expect more out of these players, especially King Annihilator. Particularly disappointed with the performance so far. And you know what? It turns out the Vex counterpick out of Drubin was incredibly smart and served to neutralize King Annihilator quite a bit.
And then it just seems as if King Annihilator has been King Annihilated this game. They've been just sort of sequestered off from every single one of these fights. They've tried to have impact, and it just hasn't worked. This LeBlanc seems to have been solved by Drubin here, and we mentioned that Team Ishtar playing with a lot of subs here. It seems like they're still well practiced. They look extremely strong regardless.
Yeah, it's not King Annihilator, it's King Annihilator. as in he's not doing anything this game, so he's probably saving it for the rest of the games in the series.
Yeah. Later, King later, that's what it is. And
I feel like he could have gotten a kill there. I really do.
He potentially could have, but another thing to keep in mind is that if King Annihilator isn't in a massive lead, they are going to have to be forced to play. They're going to be forced to play defensively. Oh boy, just like this.
This could be a really bad fight for Team Ishtars. They're in a weird way here. They're focusing Chicken the Wing, who's down to about almost half HP, now below half, but the turret taken pretty much for half the health bar of your Malphite. You will take that. More gold for Team Ishtar and objective bounties for MG Element. Not exactly what I expected to see going into this game one.
One thing to note is Venom was with the team there, and it makes no sense. Why would you put the Fiora, your split push menace, with the rest of your team? You know she's not going to be able to contribute a lot in front-to-back team fights if Malphite, Lee Sin are in the front. She needs to find a flank angle. She needs to look around the side. And realistically, we've seen a lot of fights where this Fiora's just been walking face first into them, or trying to walk face first, and then just getting poked out and then being forced to back off. This Fiora needs to try and split push, open up the map, force people around the map in weird ways, and then teleport into these fights from the side to get that advantage. And, sitting on 2.5 items, a lot of your damage is going to come through from Venom, but they have to come from the flank.
And Team Ishtar is in a weird spot right now because Venom wants to split push this bottom lane. The objective bounties available in that bottom lane. There's 2 turrets compared to one everywhere else. But the problem is, Team Ishtar is going to be down there because they're just waiting on the soul in a minute 15. So right now, MG Element's really caught in a catch-22.
Yeah, Venom just wants to sit on this top side here, try and prevent Chicken the Wing from joining. If they can win the 1v1, if they can put Chicken the Wing in a bad spot, that's their angle to sort of get the health lead, then teleport in, or force Chicken the Wing into an odd back timer to reset. All of that sort of stuff. We need to see Venom put some pressure on this top side of the map, though, because you can't just expect this play to go well if you just go for a normal 5v5 with both of them teleporting in at the same time. It has to be some sort of desync that is forced from this Fiora, because she's all of their gold, she's all of their kills. She's the only one on their team with a gold advantage, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, she's the only one who's got any sort of advantage, so she needs to use that advantage.
Yeah, and certainly using it there is Chicken the Wing forced off. And a lot of the problems with MG Element is they have really no poke. Like, do you call LeBlanc Chain's poke? I certainly don't. So it means these 4v4s are getting very difficult for them. So while Venom is now holding up their end of the bargain upstairs, there's just nothing that MG Element can do, and they're in danger of slowly bleeding out.
And unless they try and force a fight here to force the teleport from Chicken the Wing, what's the point of this split push from Venom? You're not going to get anything, and now they're just going to start up this dragon. You've got to find the fight. There's the
fight with the Flash Ultimate! He interrupted Venom, but Chicken the Wing needs to survive here. Could have set up the fight for the rest of his team. People are going berserk. A lot of damage down. Late game carry is low. But out of blue, beautiful kiting job on the side. King Annihilator, Runner 90 making things happen. Poperto, Drubin, last one standing. 3v2 here. Looking for this dragon from the side. The flash, the engagement. So much damage. It's a 1-for-1. Drubin low. Ultimate down, forcing Drubin away. Runner 90 and Out of Blue looking to secure this away from Drubin. You have to be careful. This Vex can deal a heck of a lot of damage. It's taking a lot of poke from Out of Blue and is getting forced off. They might look for the steal. They won't be able to get it. A well-executed fight from MG Element.
And a super big pick onto Frostbite in the backline. King Annihilator finally comes alive, finds the shutdown. Massive play for the LeBlanc alongside Runner 90 there. They're able to get that Jinx completely separated from her team. And that's the difference maker. Out of Blue was in a really bad spot until there wasn't any damage left, was able to get all of those feathers out, was able to pull them back, and meanwhile on the top side, they just went 1-for-1, but now the Fiora's got that hull breaker. She can now sit on the bottom side of the map where she wants to be. Granted, no teleport to join these fights. She's going to have to be really smart about this play.
The good news is, actually, no, there is no good news because the objective bounties are now gone. I was going to say, like, now you could send Venom to the bot lane and just, hope that Team Ishtar doesn't just go for it, but guess what? Yeah, they're just going crazy down there. All right, the second Baron of the game here for Team Ishtar, because Lord knows nobody's going to be able to contest this one. Maybe this was just a ploy to get objective bounties back? They're getting close.
I'm curious as to the decision making there from Runner 90, not resetting with the team, not resetting right after Dragon is the odd choice. Drubit not able to find the Shadow Surge. You get a bot lane tower, but you're just going to lose more towers here. Baron is way stronger than Hullbreaker. Let's just put it that way.
Here we go. Volibear is now back. It's a 5v4 chicken the wing with the team this time around. Good triple root there. The turret dealing as much damage as it really can to Malphite. Taking to about half HP. Not irrelevant there. Meanwhile, the split push here for Venom. Chicken the Wind walking away, and it looks like they're going to take the back to try to stop this Fiora. The split push is happening. They have the Hullbreaker. They've taken down 2 turrets, and they are looking for more. They're looking for a 3rd turret. They're going to get that one, and now they're going to start the fight with Chicken the Wing. And this could be problematic here in the mid lane. Team Ishtar is taking down the middle inhibitor. Are they going to continue, or are they going to back up? They need to help their Malphite. Inhibitor in the bottom side goes down, and now MG Element is just looking to stop the backs here.
Yeah, Venom should be able to win that 1v1 if Chicken the Wing wasn't so close to their base, but now maybe looking for a flank angle. Everyone's going to reset from the side of Team Ishtar. They end up trading inhibitors. Interestingly enough, this sort of benefits the side of MG Element more because they just got an inhibitor without Baron.
Yeah, that's massive as well, and so much gold going on to this Fiora. I can't imagine what they're going to spend their gold on right now. Looks like they've... Alright, they've got Caulfield's Warhammer. I swear they had more. Did they not have as much gold as I thought they did?
Might be the... Oh, no, it's not the scoreboard bug there. No, they're waiting to finish off the Manamune there. So you can see they've got 1,000 gold in the inventory. They needed just a little bit more, but wanted to push out this lane. Yeah, Volibear goes Zonia's now. That's not too surprising. Yeah, it's gank in a can's got to stay alive somehow, right? And they've got AP ratios, so yeah. Zonia's usually second item, actually. It's sort of the Jarvan build that we've seen as well, with Jarvan's go second item, Zonia's as well. Just full utility, and Volibear is sort of following in those footsteps, but gold lead is shrinking substantially here. I think this next dragon fight needs to go the way of Team Ishtar, because now this scaling starts to become a factor. And something I want to point out, look at Out of Blue's build right now. 3 completed items. They've got the shutdown on their head. Yes, it's still against the Jinx, who is scaling TM, but Zaya's not going to be any slouch here either.
Yeah, and you saw in that last fight, well, Zaya didn't get a whole lot of kills. I think just maybe picked up 1. The damage, the roots, the utility. Out of Blue has been playing a fairly clean game.
Yeah, and on the top side of the map as well, interesting itemization choice from Chicken the Wing to go for the tier item. I would have preferred to see a Frozen Heart because it's just as many debuffs onto this Fiora as possible, so you live as long as possible. But realistically, Venom is going to be incredibly difficult to deal with. Now is the point where maybe you've got to have this Vex rotate up. Maybe you have the Vex deal with her, but even still, not going to be the easiest of tasks unless you're sending maybe 2 members for the Fiora.
Well, it looks like Team Ishtar is okay with losing things on the top side of the map. Chicken the Wing is going to walk his way down to try and get this Dragon Soul, spawning in 20 seconds. Fiora behind the minion line, not quite sure what they want to do. It looks like they will continue the push. Chicken the Wing is going to walk all the way back up top.
Yeah, Chicken the Wing has to be incredibly careful in what fights they take with Venom now, though. Level 18 comes through. It means that the passive's fully sort of stacked up for Venom. Those vitals are going to do like 10, 15% of Malphite's health. That's a lot of damage to deal with. Oh my goodness, the dragon's gone!
Out of position! They were just out of position. MG Element was just not prepared for the sheer damage that Team Ishtar does to objectives. And now we could see a potential turn. Here in the top lane, Venom is just doing their thing. Foperdo has to try to get away, flashes away, but is still chained up. Venom is taking a top inhibitor and is just running the game right now. King Annihilator going deep for this one, gets kicked away. Runner 90 in there. Foperdo will fall, and it doesn't matter if you have an Infernal Soul. I don't think that they've got the numbers left to be able to win this game as the minions are pouring into the base of Team Ishtar.
There's no Baron. That's the only thing to point out. Frostbite!
Frostbite's got to flash away. The taunts are out. They do manage to kill them. Venom Menace. Look at the big knockups. Frostbite's got to get in this fight. They're exhausted. They're dead. Out of Blue. Needs the reset. Can't get it. It is a 2v2. Oh! Now it's a 2v1. And now they manage to clean up. Team Ishtar finds an ace in the double teleport into the base. The super minions were in the base. They're looking to end the game.
They can do it.
There's nobody up.
There's nobody up for 25 seconds. This is going to be game one. Go to Ishtar.
Team Ishtar managed to hold strong in their base, hold the line, double teleport to the base, and they take game one of the semis.
My goodness. I mean, Chicken the Wing doesn't do any damage to the Nexus. Driven's going to have to start auto-attacking it, but my goodness, they defend the base so skillfully. Driven strikes first in this mid lane matchup, 6-1-6 on the Vex. My goodness, MG Element, they might have a little bit more to work for than they expected.
That was ridiculous. What a crazy game. And a lot of that had to do with MG Element not respecting, and it's so hard, right? It's a snap decision that you have to make at that time, and somebody needs to be caught on us. Chicken the Wing didn't have to use their teleport.
Oh, okay, we're good.
Ooh. Hello?
Yes, we're back.
Okay. Is it that weird thing where Discord kind of cuts out after?
It cuts out when League is trying to load back through. It's
Bro, I don't know why it's been doing that, but it's something that, you know, as I was saying, something that MG Element needed to be cognizant of as they were pushing into the base. That, you know, Chicken the Wing hadn't used teleport. Ruben hadn't used teleport. If you lose that fight, you lose the game due to the super minions in the mid lane, and that's something that in the heat of the moment is so easy to lose track of.
I think the biggest thing is that Team Ishtar were just able to execute on their game plan. They didn't play into MG Element's hand despite them almost losing the game. They held strong, and I think MG Element on that final push, maybe just overreaching a little bit. A lot of those cooldowns were down. They still tried to push for the end. The hardest thing about fighting 4 or 5 members in the base is that someone gets poked out, someone's down to 10, 5% HP. They walk back in the base, they chill out for a couple seconds, they rejoin the fight at full health. You don't have that authority to do so because you're in their base. They can continuously look for resets at will, but unfortunately, MG Element, they overreached just a little bit and they got punished hard.
Yes, they did. Credit to Team Ishtar securing that dragon, just hitting the go button and saying, hey, we need to get this done. Now was the difference maker. That little bit of extra damage, you saw how close that fight was, really put them over the top, Adam.
Yeah, and I'm incredibly curious to see how Team Ishtar get themselves even further ahead in this series, because this game, they had control for maybe 75-80% of the game. There's a couple of moments where MG Element were able to wrestle that back, especially in the latter half of that game, but still, I feel like Team Ishtar, they're a momentum-based team. If you can give them a win here, if you get maybe another bigger win next game, it might just all go down. But MG Element, they need to stem the bleeding. They need to find some picks that work for themselves.
You saw the momentum cascading for Team Ishtar as they got stronger and stronger as the game went on, but MG Element had plenty of fight left in them, and I doubt that they've lost any of that fight after losing a heartbreaker of a game one. That said, we are going to take a very short break as the teams get into the draft, and when we return, we'll bring you the Game 2 draft of MG Element and Team Ishtar.